Hello again, I'm Robert Fithen, and recently I got two albums with very similar album covers, Rocka Rolla from Judas Priest and Tango Fango from Guru Guru. Now this was a complete accident, just a coincidence basically, because this was just released. So I got this as a brand new reissue that just came out about a month ago. Always wanted some more Guru Guru in my collection. And I just happened to find this at the Vinyl Zone, a new record store near the Scott Air Force Base. That is run by Travis, who does the Metro East record show. So I just found this used. So just kind of a coincidence that I got both of these within like the same week or so. Start off here with Judas Priest, Rocka Rolla from 1974. This was their very first album. A lot of people do not like this album that much, and listening to it, I can kind of see why. This actual version was a Record Store Day Black Friday release. From 2018. It's got a nice color vinyl here, the Coke bottle thing, which makes a lot of sense there. And it's actually, this version has like these little bubbles on here, they're textured. You can actually feel them. They kind of pop up a little bit, so that's kind of cool, I guess. This features, of course, Glenn Tipton, K.K. Downing. It has Ian Hill and John Hinch. For just one album. That's the only time you're going to hear him doing any drumming on a Judas Priest album, is this one right here, and I can kind of hear why. His drumming is really kind of basic. It's kind of light, he's not hitting those pretty hard there for a hard rockin' band like Judas Priest. Also, of course, on the vocals, a guy named Bob Halford. According to the credits here, he has Bob Halford on this album. But I'm not really that familiar with this. I mean, I've heard it a few times in my life over the decades, but never really did a deep dive into this album. I've had Sad Wings of Destiny on record since the 90s, so I'm much more familiar with that one, and that is a much better album. This one's okay though. I mean, it has its moments. It's produced by Roger Bain, who produced like the first 3 Black Sabbath albums, produced the first 2 albums for Budgie, did some other stuff later on, and then just kind of dropped out completely. But did this one, and then did a remix of it himself back in 1981, retitled Hero Hero. But this does not sound like one of Black Sabbath's first 3 albums, and does not sound like an early Budgie album either. This is really... it definitely sounds like a 70s album, first of all. I know there's been a recent remix of this where they've changed some stuff around and made it apparently not sound like a 70s album. I haven't heard it, but I'm very familiar with when they do remixes, what they do to them, and I can assume some of the things that have been done to this, and I've got no interest in that. I don't, this might be a not great album, but I'd rather hear it as it was originally made and has survived all these decades. But enough of that. Did a whole video about that kind of thing. But so, it definitely sounds like a 70s album. It has that bass blanket that they were putting on a lot of the 70s rock albums back then, so you could get the most out of your new stereo setup, and it really, really shook the floor and things like that. So that is present here. Very first song, One for the Road, has a nice repeating groove to it. It's not bad. Not a bad way to start off Judas Priest's first album. I mean, obviously this is primitive. This is not heavy metal. They're finding their way. It's one thing I love about a lot of debut albums that a lot of people don't like is I love bands trying to find their path, and they're doing this, or they're doing that, and they're throwing this against the wall and seeing if that sticks, and they're going to try this on this track. So not a bad way to start. And then you get the title track, Rocka Rolla, which also has a nice groove to it as well. Probably the best 2 tracks on here, first 2 tracks. You got this nice long thing called, with the winter, is a 3-part thing. The deep freeze part of that is the best part, where it's just the guitar and just this kind of spacey effects on it, and that's kind of cool, and it goes back into the vocal. It's broken up into 3 parts, but on a record, you don't realize it. It just sounds like a nice medley, a nice long song with a nice guitar thing in the middle of it. You got Cheater to wrap it up with, this basic like story of the guy, he walks in and the wife's cheating and you're a cheater, and, almost like a country tale there. But side 1, not too bad, especially considering this is not, the Defenders of the Faith or something like that. My favorite Judas Priest album is actually Sin After Sin. I really love the 70s Judas Priest. I like Sad Wings of Destiny too. I think that's a great album. It's got a lot of great moments on it. So they lose me a little bit in the 80s. They kind of get me back for an album or 2 in the 90s, and then they kind of lose me again. So I'm not some diehard Judas Priest guy. I'm not, oh my God, gods of metal and all that kind of thing. But you know, this comes off, you know, with a nice start, nice stuff on here. Side 2 is where this thing completely falls apart for me. I don't know, some of the other detractors of this may not like the entire album, may hate the whole thing. You know, for me, it's like side 1 and side 2 are like night and day. Side 2, this thing just comes to such a nodding off ending. I mean, it just gets boring. It just gets real light. They start playing like they're trying not to wake grandma up or something like that. This song, Run of the Mill, isn't even Run of the Mill. It's 8.5 minutes long, and it is so incredibly boring. It's just this, you know, it just goes on, and it's like, man, why don't you make an epic song? Go like, you know, the Whiskey Woman, Defenders, the song that's in Sad Wings of Destiny. Well, that's what it was originally called anyway. But yeah, so, something like that. If you're going to make something go on for 8 minutes, make it rock. You know, have some different... This thing just goes on and on. It's so boring. And then Dying to Meet You, it has Rob Halford singing in this really weird voice that's definitely not made for him, and it wasn't. It was made for their original lead singer, Al Adkins. But why not change it and make a different arrangement? Go in a different key. Make it for Rob. Make Rob Halford, you know, really show his pipes, show his talent. Not on that track though. And then it just ends with Caviar and Meths, which was originally, from everything I've heard, started off this 14-minute long epic song that builds and crescendos and everything. And Roger Bain just decided, no, you know what? We're just going to use the 2.5-minute long intro, which really isn't anything spectacular, and that's how we're going to end the album, with the cut-off intro of a song that was originally like much longer. It just goes nowhere, and then the album ends. So yeah, side 2 just kills this. But side 1 not bad. I mean, side 1, you know, some nice groove. You get into, okay, this is 70s. This is basically a 70s kind of. You're trying to be like an AOR band, maybe. You know, they got, like I said, the 70s bass blanket on there with the sound and everything. And, you know, okay, you know, it's not Sad Wings of Destiny. It's not Sin After Sin, definitely. It's not Stained Class. It's definitely not Hellbent for Leather. But, you know, okay. You know, but side 2, it's like, just no. Just no. So you get half of a decent album, and, you know, it's better than some of the people I've heard, you know, claim it is. So, to me, anyway, Judas Priest, Rocka Rolla. At least I'm glad to have this. I've never had this on any kind of format before. I never had the CD or the cassette or anything. So this is the first time I've actually owned this album. So I'll definitely be hanging on to this. And, you know, the Coca-Cola bottle cap there looks a lot like the cover of this album. This is Guru Guru from by the way, that was their first album from 74. This is from 1976. So I'm not sure that Guru Guru saw that album and thought it was a great idea. They probably had never heard of Judas Priest at that point. It's just a coincidence, kind of like a coincidence of me picking these up so close together. Guru Guru, Tango Fango from 1976. This is a reissue that was just released, like I said, about a month or so ago on this red vinyl, which looks really nice. You know, solid red vinyl there, beautiful. Reissued by Repertoire Records, who they're reissuing of older stuff that's been hard to get. Goes all the way back to the CD era, all the way back to the 80s. You know, these guys were doing reissues, maybe even before that. But I got familiar with Repertoire in the 80s. They are kind of hit and miss. And this is a different album for Guru Guru. If you're expecting some sort of German progressive rock, or cosmic music, no. This is, these guys have kind of, you know, it's not 1972 anymore, it's 1976. So we're going to go a little more jazzy, a little more funky. We're going to go full on bossa nova. I even mentioned bossa nova in the title of some songs here. You got the, bossa nova's track 3. It's a bossa nova. They're taking that stuff seriously, man. There's stuff on here that sounds like the Lawrence Welk Hour. I mean, this sounds like polka stuff when it gets to the final track here, Das Lebendige Radio, which it sounds like, you know, you got this female broadcaster, she's speaking in German, and then you're just switching stations, and it goes from, like I said, like polka music to back to like the calypso stuff. Nice breezy song called Tomorrow starts it off. It's with this little tight little guitar, like you're just on the beach or something like that in the 70s or something like that. you know, goes into the title track, which, you know, Tango Fango is funky. Didn't expect funkiness out of like Guru Guru. There's this saxophone that keeps coming in and making it all jazzy, and it's kind of not welcome to me. One of the high points is at the end of side one, this 7-minute song called Night Bear, where this guy gets on here like Boris the Spider or something, and I'm the Night Bear, I'm a spider, people think I'm evil, and you know, all this kind of. So if you're looking for something a little weird, I mean, that's about as weird as it gets. Unfortunately, I'm much more into, obviously, their progressive rock, the German progressive rock stuff they do, the psychedelic stuff they do in the early 70s. But this is this is not that, but it is a fun album. It's fun. You know, if you like a little bit of kitsch, if you like a little bit of silliness, you know, you want to do a little tango, you want to do a little bit of calypso, you want a breezy kind of almost yacht rock kind of stuff going on, then check out Tango Fango from Guru Guru. And yeah, funky stuff on here. Banana Flip is kind of, you know, it's kind of a cool, it's just a cool thing for them to do. But if you don't have any Guru Guru, I would not make this your first album, unless you're really into the bossa nova stuff. Then by all means, go ahead and you know, put on your castanets and go dancing across the floor to this. I don't have a lot of Guru Guru. And so when this became available as a reissue, I jumped on it. I was kind of familiar with this. I mean, I'd heard it a few times, but kind of forgot just how far away they get from the psychedelic stuff in this. But yeah, I'm still kind of glad I got this. I need some more Guru Guru in my collection, and this was an easy way to get it because it's a reissue. However, not a good reissue. I don't know what Repertoire was doing, but this sounds like bass was added. This sounds brick-walled. This is like one of those 2002 CDs where everything is just pushed way up and compressed. The dynamics are gone. I've heard this, never had this in any kind of format before, but I've streamed this before. And the stream that's still on, you know, you can stream this right now, and the stream sounds a million times better than this. The stream at least still has the dynamics. It still has, you know, the instruments still sound, you know, earthy and real. That guitar that I was talking about in the very first track, Tomorrow, that sounds so shrill. And then when the rest of the music kicks in throughout the entire album, it's just, like I said, so bass heavy and so overdriven and so compressed. And like if it was a CD and you ripped it, you would see just brick wall wave. You can't really do that to a record, but if you could, that's what this would look like. Total brick wall going on here. I thought we were done with that. I thought they learned their lesson with the brick walling when CDs went out of fashion. Thought we'd learned our lesson on that 10 years ago, but apparently not. They're probably using an old master from 2003 or something like that, that when that kind of processing was in vogue and everybody was doing it, and that's why everybody started hating CDs, because they think it was the CD making it sound like that. It's like, no, it's the particular processing they were doing at the time that the CDs were being made. It's not a CD sounding like that. It's the engineering. Terrible. And so yeah, I still feel like I really don't have this, even though I'm holding it, because this is not a very good reissue at all. But just thought it was pretty cool that I had two albums, got them within, you know, like a week or so of each other, completely accidentally, total coincidence, and they both have similar covers. So not two excellent albums, not great sounding, either one of them. One of them is a little closer to what it's supposed to sound like, but I thought I would share those with you. Let me know if you have either one of those albums and what you think of it, especially really either one of them, but the Guru Guru, you just don't ever hear about a lot. So I wonder what some of the Guru Guru fans think of that particular album as compared to some of their earlier works. So once again, I'm Robert Fithen. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon.